Welcome to another edition of Bucknell Women's Tennis Through the Decades. Tonight we have the most recent decade of Bucknell women's tennis graduates, the decade from the 2010s. We've got three great alumni joining, head coach Tammy Cicchini and one of our current student athletes, Daniela Bellini. Daniela is a junior from Tierra Verde, Florida, and we are thankful she can join us tonight. I know she's had a tough day with a lot of homework and a lot of work, so she's looking forward to having some fun over the next hour. My name is Todd Newcomb, and I want to thank Geisinger for sponsoring tonight's event. Geisinger has done a great job throughout the pandemic in our local community here, and they do a fantastic job day in and day out with our student athletes here at Bucknell. So thank you to Geisinger. Without any further ado, let me introduce the alums that we have in attendance tonight, and then I'll turn it over to Coach. The first alum from the class of 2016 is Maria Chofi. Maria was the team captain during the 2015-2016 season. She is Bucknell's all-time leader with 171 combined career wins. With 91 singles wins, and she's third overall with 80 doubles victories. Maria won 70% of all of her matches to rank 11th on the all-time list for winning percentage. She was an All-Patriot League second team selection in 2013 and an All-Patriot League first team choice in 2014, 2015, and 2016. She was a Patriot League's Rookie of the Year in 2013, named the Patriot League Scholar Athlete of the Year in women's tennis in 2014. She was a three-time member of the Academic All-Patriot League team, and she was honored as an ITA Scholar Athlete in 2016. Maria won the Bradley N. Tufts Award at the Athletic Department Senior Awards Dinner her senior year. Our next guest from the class of 2018 is Lisa Jurevleva. She is a team captain from the 2017-2018 season. She ranks all-time at Bucknell with 110 combined career wins, 9th with 62 singles wins, and 15th with 48 doubles victories. She won 60.4% of all of her matches to rank 17th on the all-time list. Lisa was an All-Patriot League first team selection in 2017 and an All-Patriot League second team selection in 2018. Lisa also won the Bradley N. Tufts at the Athletic Department Senior Awards Dinner. And our final guest, our most recent graduate from the class of 2020 is Paige Levy. She ranks 9th all-time at Bucknell with 120 combined career wins, 13th with 56 singles wins, and 7th with 64 career doubles victories. She won 61.5% of all of her matches to rank 16th on Bucknell's all-time list. So Coach, another great group. I'm going to turn it over to you. We'll have some fun.
Thanks, Todd. Excuse me. Wow, your accomplishments are very, very impressive on the court. It's so nice to meet everyone. Thank you for spending the evening with Daniela and I. I recognize your name, so it's really nice to be able to put a face to your name. Paige, since I know you the best, I'm going to start with you. First, introduce your guests that you have behind you, or one that was just moving.
Okay, this is
Luca.
And Deuce, as in the tennis term deuce.
Right.
Very own.
Aw, that's awesome that you're able to have them with you.
Yes.
So before we begin asking you questions about your Bucknell, I'm going to ask this question to all three of you. So before I start to ask questions about your Bucknell memories, can you please tell us a little bit about you right now? So where do you call home? An update on your family. Please tell us about your career. And lastly, if you have any pets. I know you may have more than those too.
Yes. I'm starting out. All right. Well, it's crazy that it's been almost a year since I've been on Bucknell's campus. Definitely not the way I pictured my tennis career and undergrad experience to end, but now I'm at Duke University in the accelerated nursing program. I moved here to Durham, North Carolina with my two dogs, and I'm studying to become a nurse practitioner. I'm still figuring out what specialty I want to go in, but at the moment, I'd love to work as a family nurse practitioner in the trauma and emergency department. I'm drawn to the ER because I love the feeling of a good adrenaline rush, and I'm excited to work with a variety of patients ranging from different ages to different problems. Luckily, I was able to get right back into school, and Duke has done a great job of taking like the necessary safety precautions to allow us to have online lectures, but in-person clinicals and labs. So it's definitely a lot of work, but it's been an awesome experience for the beginning of this chapter. So
That's great. How many years is the program?
So the ABSN program to become like an RN is about 16 months. And then to continue on, I would have to get my master's for nurse practitioner. So we're looking at like 3 to 4 years.
Okay, so you're going to continue to get your nurse practitioner's
That's
degree?
the goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, tell us the difference between Duke's campus and Bucknell's campus.
Well, it's definitely a lot bigger. You have to drive to get to like
Oh, really?
nations on campus. Yeah, it's very big. I mean, they're both really pretty. I've only explored really the nursing campus so far because they're very strict on where we can go and out everywhere, but the nursing building is crazy. They're like simulation building where they have for us to work on like mannequins and stuff. It's like kind of ideal, so we don't have to be like touching people with COVID and everything. So
right.
Yeah, it's a really pretty campus. So I
What's going on with Duke's basketball team?
I know. Just lost against UNC the other night. I was pretty upset about that.
All right, last question. How's your wrist?
I still feel it to this day. I still I'm always touching it, but
Still connected.
Yeah, without the backhand, stop swinging the backhand so much, it's been definitely better. So
okay. Well, I lied. One more question. When's the last time you played tennis?
Okay, so I took a long break after our season ended, probably a good like 6 months, but I brought my rackets back here and I found a friend here that we've actually been playing for fun.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's been fun to get back swinging.
Good. Is it the one-handed or the two-handed backhand?
Oh, the slice for sure.
Slice. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Paige. Hi, Maria.
Hi.
I met your brother in the fall.
Oh, no.
And Bruce said that he is a volunteer assistant for the men's team. So I'm going to find out where you live, but absolutely an open invitation for being our volunteer assistant. So we would absolutely love to have you. So, but anyway, please tell us what you're up to these days.
Okay, so I'm a software engineer at a company in Pittsburgh, but we do work all over the country. So I'm actually living in Dayton, Ohio right now.
Okay.
And I am the volunteer assistant for the University of Dayton women's tennis
Oh, you
team.
are?
Yeah.
Shoot.
It's really fun. I actually get to play in it practice when we have an odd number, and I feel like it's okay because we don't really play Bucknell and
Right.
by no means rivals. So
Right.
yeah.
So any pets?
No pets right now.
No pets. Before Bucknell, I was at Valparaiso University and we played Dayton every single
Yeah,
year.
I see that.
So I know the coach. She's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, she's so nice.
Gosh, who did you guys play this past weekend? I know.
Oh, we played UIC and we played someone else, Eastern Michigan. Yeah.
Okay, because my previous assistant at Valpo was did you see him? He was the UIC assistant coach, tall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know anyone that well. It's like my first year doing it.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you have a really good
team. They have a great team. UIC had a really, really good team.
Right.
I looked them up actually. I'm like one of those people that likes to stalk the lineups and like all the players and stuff. And I noticed they usually win the league and they're quite good. So
yeah. No, that was a really good match. I saw the scores. Your top 2 players are pretty
strong. They're good. They are strong. Yeah.
That was a really good score because I know UIC is pretty good. So
yeah.
I actually have relatives in Dayton. Coach, we need to do a match over there. We should play.
Yeah. I would love that.
I have looked at Dayton, but you guys are too far away.
You guys could come. You could play Xavier. You could play UC. There's so many teams around here.
Right. The farthest into Ohio, the farthest west that we're going is University of Toledo.
Okay.
So yeah. So I don't know if you know.
A little too far north.
Yeah. So that's 6 hours for us.
So yeah, that is quite a distance.
It is. So we'll be playing them in the fall. And I don't know if you know this, but the head coach at Toledo is a Bucknell alum.
Actually, Erica, the UD head coach, told me that when it started. So
So that's cool. So,
Yeah.
well, thank you. And again, if you're ever in the area, please stop by. We would love to have you.
Okay, that's great.
Hi, Lisa. Oh, excuse me. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
How are you? I'm good.
Good, thank you. What are you up to?
So I'm currently living in New York City. I've been living here since I graduated in 2018. But when the pandemic hit, I moved back home in New Jersey for a bit. So I was home with my parents. My sister was there for a bit. We were all working remote. So I'm sure everyone has experienced how crazy it is.
Right.
My dad was actually a lead for the Pfizer vaccine. So that was pretty cool. Not that I was a part of it by any means, but it was nice to be home, during the pandemic while he was working on that.
Right.
My mom also full-time. My sister was home for a bit. So we were all home working. But as you guys can imagine, I got pretty tired of living with my parents. So I moved back into the city pretty recently, actually, last month. I'm now living with 2 other Bucknell alumni and 1 friend from home. So there's 4 of us in a pretty small city apartment, but we're making the most of it. Career-wise, I'm in digital marketing. When I graduated, I was actually in a sales role at a different company, just because I wanted to sort of pursue my competitive nature. But I sort of realized pretty quickly that it wasn't for me. And I always knew that I wanted to be in digital marketing. So I switched over to my current company. I'm here for almost 2 years now. We're a super small company, like 8 people. So it's been okay working from home since we kind of thrive being online, being that I'm in digital marketing. So
That's great. So when's the last time you played tennis?
great question. So I'd say probably when I was home before all this snow. I play with my dad whenever I get the chance to. He's the one that got me into it when I was super young. So we play whenever we get the chance to when I'm home.
Oh, that's great. I'm sure he really loves that time with you.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm going to start with you to ask the next question. So recruiting is nonstop for me. I am doing it constantly, all year round. It seems like every single day I'm talking to a recruit. So I tell my recruits that the ultimate goal is for them to be happy. Can you tell us about your journey to Bucknell and why you chose Bucknell?
Yeah. I hear an echo. Does anyone else? Okay, I think it stopped. I mean, when I started the recruiting process, I had a huge list of schools, ranging from size of Bucknell-esque, all the way to bigger schools. But, I kind of knew that I wanted, same as any Bucknell athlete, that academic sport balance, great academics, great sports, excuse me. And I started going to recruiting camps. So actually the first tournament, I went to sort of like a recruiting tournament at Yale. And that's where I met Craig Schwartz. So he was the assistant coach at the time. He saw me play a match. I started talking to him. And at that time, I kind of already had interest in Bucknell. Again, I wanted a smaller campus, that academic athletic balance. So we kind of started talking. He said he would spread the word to Helt. So they talked. I started talking to Coach Helt. We started emailing back and forth. And she ultimately said, I need to get this on my SATs. I worked hard towards that. Then I went to the Lehigh recruiting camp. She was there. We talked again. And at that time, it became a little bit more official that I was going to be going to Bucknell and playing for Bucknell. So on the last day of the camp, I actually wore a Bucknell t-shirt, kind of like a low-key announcement. Yeah. Sorry to all the other coaches. So yeah, that was kind of the journey. Again, I started with that really big list. I emailed every coach I could. And then I really just thought about what I wanted in my 4 years of college tennis, and Bucknell was the definition of it.
Oh, good. Good. Maria?
So I actually knew nothing about tennis and recruiting and what I should do and who I should talk to. And I started tennis really late. I was probably a freshman the first time I played.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow,
I
that is late.
yeah, I always played a lot of sports. So I played like basketball and softball and but I didn't play tennis in any capacity or take lessons at all until I played my freshman year of high school, and then I decided I really liked it and started taking lessons. But yeah, I knew nothing. Um, I like went to a couple USTA tournaments my junior and senior years of high school and realized like what a vast pool of talent there was, because I grew up in Williamsport and there just aren't a ton of people there, and there wasn't a ton of youth tennis going on.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, Olivia is amazing, but
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't know what I was doing, and I emailed a couple colleges. I emailed UPenn. I emailed Penn State, like schools that I knew I was going to apply to anyway, for
Mhm.
the academics. And it turned out that Rebecca was the only coach that would come watch me play or offered me an opportunity. So that was where I ended up going. There's very little decision making going on.
So you were a multi-sport athlete. So
Yeah.
why did you decide I'm going to stick with tennis?
I really enjoyed the fact that it was all me out there, either making mistakes or winning the match. I really appreciated that about tennis because all the other sports are team sports.
Right.
I liked them. I think I liked probably basketball the second most, but
Okay.
something about tennis is it's more you, it's more thinking, it's more involved for yourself. I don't know.
Right.
Maria,
you start-
can you share with Coach your story about how you played for the boys team on your high school?
Oh, yeah,
And
sure.
how you also battled a Bucknell professor's son year in and year out in the district championships. I don't know if you know that, but Peter Cernan, his dad's a professor here, and Coach would find that story interesting.
Yes, please.
So I was in a car accident my senior year of high school, right in the summer, I guess before my senior year. And I broke the bones in my hips and I couldn't play tennis for quite a long time. It felt like years to me, but it wasn't that long, obviously. So I missed the girls' season, and I think it's called PIAA said I could play the boys' season. So that's what I did. And the Lewisburg team, I guess the number one was one of the professors at Bucknell. So I played him in the final of districts. And then I ended up going to states and I got fourth there.
Wow.
The first two matches were good, like someone at my level. And then the next two were like clearly boys who were going to play high level tennis in college. And I kind of got the floor wiped with me, but
Wow, that's great. All right, one more question. In my office, I have trophies with your name on it. So I've seen your name. I'm really familiar with your name. So it's my chance to actually ask you these questions and just know a little bit more about you. So I want to know what type of player you were.
I was a baseliner, and I was my game is like centered around picking apart someone else's game and like figuring out how to win the match and making a lot of balls. I was definitely not someone who hit a lot of winners. Like I remember watching Lisa play and she could just nail the ball. And I was like, that's not part of my game, really. I had to have like a wide open shot to try and hit a winner.
Okay.
But yeah, like good footwork and hustle. And yeah, that was pretty much what I did.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Very interesting. Paige, how did you make it to Bucknell?
All right. So I lived in Florida all my life. So primarily I knew I wanted Northeastern living for the snow and change of seasons. And I also love indoor tennis. I feel like it suits my game pretty well. So that helped me kind of narrow down location wise. And then in terms of recruiting, I talked to a lot of coaches, played a lot of tournaments and a lot of showcases. I also played the Yale showcase that Lisa mentioned. And that is actually where I first talked to Coach Helt and a bunch of Patriot League teams. After that tournament, I remember I visited a lot of Patriot League schools and talked to all the coaches there, and ultimately felt the strongest connection with Coach Helt than any of the other coaches. She was really the one to sell me on the school in terms of academic and athletic resources that Bucknell had to offer. I still remember the day that she called me and offered me a scholarship. I remember like running into my parents' room and muting the phone to be like, she just offered me, like, can I accept it right now or do I have to wait? Then I like took myself off of mute and I ended up accepting it like right on the spot.
That's awesome.
Which it literally feels like yesterday, which is crazy.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it goes by fast.
kind of how I
Cool.
feel here.
Yeah. Well, Daniela, how did you make your way to Bucknell?
It's kind of almost a mixture of all of their stories. I've been playing tennis since I was 3. So by the time I was looking for schools, I was like 16, 17. So I've been playing for, like 12 or 13 years, and I had never gotten injured, like serious injury. Like I'd had like, rolled ankles or like even a fractured wrist, and I still played in like a cast, like nothing that had ever taken me out of playing for more than a week or two. And then the summer before my junior year, I played, it was like the best ranking I'd had since like the 12s. And I got injured during a team event. And it was my right oblique, so my hip, kind of similar to Maria, although it wasn't a car wreck that caused it. It was just, I don't know, over playing tennis. But yeah, I was out for about 9 months. And as most of the tennis players will know, the junior year is when you get recruited for tennis. And I was out the entire year. So it was really hard for me because I was seeing all of these girls that I had competed with my whole life and mostly beat, going to like these amazing schools. And the schools wouldn't talk to me because my ranking had plummeted, because I literally couldn't even get on the court again. So I think I started talking to Coach Helt in the spring when I slowly started to like be able to practice again. And she was honestly one of the only coaches who like would give me a chance, because I would tell all of them like, look, like I've been ranked like top 15 in Florida my entire life. My ranking sucks now because I can't play tennis. And I honestly didn't expect to hear back from her, because I gave her like my academic info and she's like, okay, like I'll look at it, I'll send it to whomever. I didn't hear from her for months. And so I kind of forgot I had talked to her. And then like in the middle of the summer, I get an email from her saying like, hey, do you want to talk? Like your stuff came back. And I did. And I talked to her and she was like, we would love to have you. She's like, I feel like, you'd still be, she's like, I know you said you're healed. And I said, yes. And she was like, so I think, you're good to go. But I'm similar to Paige. I've lived in Florida. I live an hour from Paige. So we used to play each other in juniors. It was crazy. But yeah, so I also wanted to go out of state to play tennis, mostly just because I didn't want to play in the Florida heat for another 4 years. And yeah, I really just chose Bucknell because it was the best school that really gave me an offer. But I kind of had a funny story similar to Paige, where I was at a Rowdies game, a soccer game in St. Pete, when Coach Helt called me, and it was like halftime. And I remember being on the phone, like I could barely hear a word she was saying because everyone was screaming. And I was like, I'll call you back like in a day or something. And I talked to my dad and we just spent the rest of the soccer game talking about it. And then when we got home, I called her and I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
Very cool.
But yeah, it was the best academically out of all the schools I was offered. And again, it just had the best balance between the two that I had gotten.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's your turn, Danielle.
It is my turn.
It's your turn. You're up.
But I will also say, Coach Jamie, it's crazy because I know Lisa from because she visited a few times, and like from my visit, I remember seeing her. But I also sort of know Maria because Coach Helt would mention you a lot. Yeah, as an example, like she still talks about you. Even to my day, I mean, I went to Bucknell, 5 years after you graduated? 4 or 5? Oh wait, sorry, what did you say?
16.
Oh, so yeah, so
just a couple.
Yeah, just a couple, but yeah, she always was like, you got a good record to beat, and I guess I won't be beating it because of COVID. 'Cause I had like 4
Yeah,
matches
it's
last
bad.
year. But yeah, it's just interesting. So my question is, I'll start with Maria, actually. Let's go with Maria. So what advice would you give me or any of the other players that are on the team today? What advice would you give them about the college tennis experience at Bucknell?
I would say, so I know it's a struggle when you want to do all these other things on campus, and you have tennis, or you feel like you need to get to bed early, or you feel like all you're doing is going to classes, doing schoolwork, and going to tennis. And I know in the moment it kind of feels like you wish you could do these other things. But I look back on my time and I'm really, really happy that I was so busy and that I had so many responsibilities, because it's really helped me in my job and in life to feel like I'm never overwhelmed by anything that happens anymore because of just how much stuff I had going on at school and like how much time I devoted to those two things. And it puts a lot of pressure on you, and that like has helped me react really well in the real world to like all kinds of stuff at my job or just in life. So it's just something to keep in mind when you feel like you wish you could do other things, or you think tennis is, taking up a lot of your time. And yeah, that's all I would say.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy that too. I like being challenged. I think I told someone, because we've kind of been able to see what being a NARP is this year, because
Yeah.
we haven't had athletics, and I'm so bored. I mean, I'm so bored. It got to the point where my dad was texting me, was like, "Are you doing homework? You've logged into Netflix like 20 times this week." And I'm like, I have nothing else to do. I'm like, my schoolwork was done like yesterday. I was like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I totally get that. Okay, thank you. So I'll next let's go Lisa.
Okay.
Hi.
My number one piece of advice, and this may sound simple, but it's not, is to really give it your all. These are the fastest years of your life. And, by senior year, I was sort of looking forward to break from all the pressure, just competing, all of that. But I honestly would do anything to be back. It goes by so fast, really with a blink of the eye. Like, next thing you know, you're at your senior banquet crying.
If you get one.
Oh.
Yeah, this is true.
So, I mean, really, it goes by so quick. And when I think back, I think I did give it my all every time I took the court. And I'm so happy I did. So really just fighting 100% of the time, because these are most likely your last years of competing for a school and really for a purpose.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that now it's like 17 years of tennis is like coming to a close. It's like I just want to keep that same balance for the rest of my life. It's just so scary. Like, what do you do without tennis?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's nice for a few months once you graduate, and you, like you said, you kind of live like a NARP life until you realize that's sort of like your life moving forward. But enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, we kind of got a little bit of that because of COVID. I mean, we went back like in March, so it was like 4 or 5 months of like not really being able to play tennis. It was just strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. Okay, and Paige, what you got?
Mine's pretty similar to what kind of Lisa was saying. Enjoy every moment. Don't sweat the little things. It goes by so fast, and you really don't believe it and understand it until you experience it. Because I heard it countless times prior to my college experience, and then when it's over, it's like you look back, it's like, wow, it's went by super fast. So yeah, I think having fun and not sweating the little things is my best piece of advice to say, and going off of what Maria said, now being a student, not in athletics, it is crazy the amount of time I have to like study. I'm not used to studying like in the middle of the day. I've never had that before because I've either had class or practice. So now it's definitely kind of, if anything, harder to manage my time now because of like the lack of motivation, where at least when I was busy, I would like how to set time for when I was doing everything. But in another sense, it's also nice to have that time to be able to dedicate my time to other things. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I've been removed from tennis, college tennis, for about 30 years now, and I would give anything to go back and do those 4 years again. So I guess one of the nice parts of my job is I do kind of live through each of you, so I'm still kind of in it too. So.
I mean, it's crazy. I don't know if COVID's made it worse, but like as a junior, like my second semester now, I'm just like, where did it go? And I mean,
I
I think
know.
Paige can feel this a little bit too, but it's like it kind of feels like last year like didn't even really count, and doesn't really seem like this year may or may not count.
Oh, it will. We got it. Yes, we'll be on the court competing soon. So soon enough. All right, Maria, I'm going to ask you my next question first. So when you got the email from Todd to participate in this call this evening to talk about your time on the tennis team, what were some of the memories that came rushing back? Like what were the top 2 or 3 that you immediately thought of?
I'm not sure anything, well, some things stand out, but a lot of it really blends together at this point. I remember playing doubles with Elena my first 2 years. That was really fun because when I joined the team, I was probably the worst doubles player on the team, and she was probably the best. So I remember learning the most playing with her. I also remember the match at Army when I broke the record, and my family was there, and yeah, that was, and it was a tiebreaker in the 3rd set.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really intense. So like the feeling after that happened was really great, and the fact that my parents were there and everyone was there, and Coach Hell actually asked Emily Bush to take a video of the final point, and I got up in the breaker like by 5 or 6 points, and it must have been like I must have been almost about to win, and I remember Emily was like filming every point after that, and I lost like 4 in a row before I finally won. And she was like, I wasn't sure how many videos I was gonna have to make. So I was kind of choking there, but that memory stands out. And then I can't remember which year it was, but we went to Puerto Rico for spring break one year. I think it was my freshman year. And that's really vivid because I had never been out of the country before. And I'd actually never flown on an airplane before that. And
Wow.
I know everyone found out that was my first time on a plane. And I was standing next to Coach Helt when we were getting on. And I was like, do you think there's anyone else on this airplane who's never been on an airplane before? And she was like, maybe a newborn.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So that's incredible that you remember that match that broke the record like every point, probably. So that's cool. Paige, how about you? What memories?
Yeah, I would say overall, my best memory is just like the competition aspect. I loved grinding through those long matches and like screaming on the court for me and my teammates. I love the feeling of beating a team that we weren't supposed to beat. And I think I went into more 3rd set tiebreakers more often than not. And while it was very stressful in the moment, I think it kind of made all the hard work and sacrifices worth it. And I miss like battling and having that like purpose and passion more than anything, definitely right now. But if I had to pick a specific memory, I'd probably say when the Bucknell baseball team came to our home match versus Villanova. We don't typically get a lot of fans, and even though their coach, I'm pretty sure their coach made them go, and they only stayed for the doubles. We did
Did.
win the doubles point, and their support was awesome. So yeah, that's definitely a good memory for me. And then my third would have to definitely be playing doubles with Lisa. She always knew how to like calm me down. She'd crack a joke in the middle of a match that would help, get us going. And I just had so much fun playing with her, and she definitely carried the team there. So, and taught me, I helped me progress my double skills for when she graduated. So.
Oh, wow, you guys were doubles partners?
Mhm.
Oh, that's great. So
Yeah.
which years, Paige? Freshman, sophomore?
Yeah.
She was there my freshman, sophomore. She was abroad her first semester, and then mainly my sophomore year.
Yeah.
Well, Lucy, you did a great job, because I would put her on the court with the younger players to have her teach them how to play doubles. So your legacy lives on. So,
Aw.
so how about you, Lisa?
Like Maria said, it all blends together. Now I have quite a few. I'm gonna start with my junior year. Like Paige said, I went abroad in the fall. I remember telling Coach Hell, and she was like, "No, you're not." And I was like, "No way." It wasn't the best conversation. She was pretty disappointed, and I was nervous. I mean, not playing for an entire semester obviously has an effect on you. I mean, I did practice a couple of times here and there, but doesn't compare. So I came back in the spring, and my main goal was just to prove myself, prove that, yeah, I took this break, I traveled, but I can come back and be the same, if not better player. And that's exactly what I did. That was my best season. That season was a highlight of my career. The biggest match I remember.
10 matches straight. She went undefeated for most of the season.
Okay. The biggest match I remember, and I had big shoes to fill from Maria, was Navy. It was a long match, one of my longest. And we lost at that point as a team. And on paper, this girl was supposed to basically double donut me. But I fought, and I remember telling myself, I will die if that means that I win. Like, I wanted to win that match more than I always want to win. But that match, above anything, I grinded so hard. The reason I would always lose to Maria is because she knew. She's a smart player, just lom, and that's exactly what this Navy girl did. I would, out of nowhere, I feel like I just got superpowers. I just went in and attacked every ball. I ended up winning the match, and that was probably the biggest win of my career. I remember, like, I actually cried tears of happiness. So that was probably my most memorable memory, but not to be selfish, I'm going to follow it up with another one. I think it was my freshman year. Again, this is blending together, but I think it was my freshman year. Maria, correct me if I'm wrong, but we blew Lehigh out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember everyone was crying tears of joy. It was, and that was the first time we played Lehigh while I was on the team. So I didn't even realize the intent, like how great it was to win. And I was the last match playing. So everyone else had won. We won the doubles point.
You were always
Coach,
the last match play.
Always. And Coach went out to me. She's like, please, we need this. And I was like, okay. It was a 3-setter. And then when I won, everyone just stormed the court, hugs all around. We watched Lehigh walk off our Bucknell courts. It was one of the best feelings ever.
That's great. It's a good story. I like that one. Daniela, we're missing our van rides and the hotel stays, but we'll get them back soon. So
I hope so.
yeah, we will. Um,
I still have a video of Paige going nuts in the trunk of the van. I just
oh,
popped
I've
up
seen that one.
like a few weeks ago. It was like that was a good one.
Yeah. You have the next question, Daniela.
Okay, so my next question is, what advice do you have about networking and finding the right job after Bucknell? Let's go with Paige first.
Okay, this is kind of hard question for me because I'm not employed right now. But I can say that when I was applying to nursing schools and I reached out to a lot of my Bucknell professors to write letters of recommendation, I couldn't have been happier with the effort and quality in their letters. And really, I feel like they spent their time like getting to know me as a student to be able to like say the things that they did. So I think making connections with your professors is a great resource, and that's one of the best resources I've used because I definitely think that helped me get into some nursing schools. So that's all I have.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right because I've had to have some of them write letters of recommendation too for like internships, and yeah, their quality is high class. They really go all out. Let's go with Lisa next.
Okay. Well, I'll start by saying it's nearly impossible to find the quote unquote right job right after you graduate. A bunch of people I know have already switched jobs. I myself have switched jobs since graduating. And it's okay to do that. When people say, take your time, you might not find what you love or your passion right after. That's okay. I especially had no idea what I wanted to do for a while, just because my whole life was occupied by tennis and academics. So, how could you really know? But moving on from that point, I'd really say take advantage of the Career Center. I only started really taking advantage of it senior year, and I wish I did junior year. They really help a lot. They'll look at your resume, tell you what you need to fix, what you should add, etc. Another thing that I did, which really helped, is this is an obvious one, but reach out to Bucknell alum. I've had people reach out to me, and I've been on already like 10 phone calls. So it's super helpful and super easy. And Bucknell alum are willing to help Bucknell students. It's just a fact. So don't be afraid. Reach out. It's not going to hurt, and you'll definitely get a lot of information that you wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah, I myself have I actually talked to an alumni a few days ago. She works at Cloudflare now, and yeah, I definitely they're always so nice. Like they always want to talk and like, answer all the many questions that we may have. So yeah, we appreciate that. And Maria.
I concur with Lisa that you might be switching jobs a few times. I've actually changed jobs 3 times already. But I really like the place I'm at now. And some of the advice that I received actually from, I can't remember if it was like the CEO or the CFO, they bring in, if you're being interviewed, you have like a short interview with them. And on my resume, I had put my tennis stuff at the bottom of my resume. I don't know why, I just thought that was where it went. And no one had ever mentioned it before, and it rarely got brought up in conversations when I would do interviews. And I applied for a lot of jobs. But this time he was like, why did you put all of these great accomplishments at the bottom of your resume? And I was like, no one really brings it up, it's not really a big deal. And he was like, we like to hire student athletes, and especially student athletes who have done a good job, because it shows dedication and hard work. And like, those are the kinds of people we want here. And I should have known at that point that was something companies valued, or maybe it's that's the kind of company I want to work at, where they value those characteristics. But I just like wasn't proud of it, and I wasn't bringing it up in interviews, and I wasn't really using it because I didn't think anyone cared about it. But there are companies that do, and you should definitely bring it up, and you should put it at the top of your resume, because those are the places you want to work that are going to value your hard work and your dedication and everything you've put in to the sport.
Gotcha. Yeah, I do have, like, I think it's one line for like tennis, and like I haven't put, I think I put like making the Paige Levy like honor roll. Like I think I have that somewhere on the resume, but I definitely don't have like any of the purely like athletic ones. So I was just like, I don't really think that they want to see that.
Yeah.
It's not academic, it's athletic, but maybe I'll add it now.
Yeah, people who understand how much time you have to put into being a Division I athlete really appreciate seeing it.
And you're a software engineer now, right?
Yeah, I am.
That's a lot of the roles that I applied as an internship. I'm a computer engineering major.
Oh, nice. We probably have all the same professors and stuff.
Yeah, I was telling Todd and Coach Tammy when I came on that I spent the entire day working on a computer science lab, and I just like my brain was mush. But you guys revitalized me. Like I'm good. Like after this, I'll probably go study for another 4 hours.
I don't know if you guys missed those days, but that was a lot of great advice. Thank you. One last question, Lisa, I'm going to start with you. So as their coach, I really want the time they spend here at Bucknell to be some of the best 4 years of their lives. What advice can you give me to help make that goal come true? What can you tell me or, help me with to be the best coach I can for them?
So tennis is obviously an individual sport that turns into a team sport when you enter college. There's that factor. There's a factor that's a very small team filled with women, always being around each other. And at times that can stir up some drama, whatever it may be. That sometimes can translate to the court, not only practice, but matches, and nixing that right away, because I'm sure you see it as a coach, is so necessary, because when it translates to the matches and then, the issue resolves later on, it's just honestly disappointing to look back and say this little thing got in the way of me and my teammate working together, of me winning this match that I should have won, whatever it may be, because the bottom line is everyone on the team is part of the team for the same reason. They have a love for the sport. And when something so little gets in the way of that, and maybe two teammates' relationships, maybe the whole team's dynamic, that can really spiral. And if it's not taken care of right away, it just builds and builds and builds and builds. I know Maria and I have sort of dealt with that in a way, not us together, but we've seen it on the team, and it's disappointing. It's sad, because we're all working towards the same goal, and if those issues aren't resolved, it can really have some consequences.
Yeah. Oh. Maria, do you have any advice for me?
I was actually hoping you could give me some advice. You've been coaching much longer than I have.
Well, I mean, like when you were on the team, what did Coach really do to help you to become the best person or the best player that you ultimately became? What?
Yeah. I think I've noticed this when I give advice or like critique players, is that I only give the critique sometimes. And I remember as a player wishing, maybe not wishing, but I think it would have helped process the information if someone had said, I'm only critiquing you because I think you have potential, or I think that you could be really a better player if you do this, or like, I think it's really easy to get on the court when you're a coach and be like, hey, you're not split stepping in your return, or hey, you're not taking your, I don't know, your backhand back all the way, or something, like just saying the critique right away. but I think it really helps when you preface it, or even once in a while just say like, hey, I know you have like a lot of potential to hit the shot, or I know you can do it if we do it this way, or like, I really want you to be the best player you can be, so you need to do this.
Okay.
So that's something I try and keep in mind for myself, because that's what I like to hear as a player.
Okay. Thank you. Paige.
I guess my advice would just be to be a disciplined, objective, fair, and a coach of your word. I think it's important getting to know each player to be able to recognize real leadership and to figure out each player's strength, because as they say, a team is only as strong as their weakest link. So teamwork is definitely paramount. Overall, I see college sports as a time that develops an athlete's character to take them to higher levels in life. And I think a coach is a big part of delivering that. So I think establishing good communication, having solid relationship with the players, and just remaining fair and equal plays a big part.
Thank you.
I enjoyed having you as my coach for the short amount of time. It went by super fast, but I thought you did a great job of getting us all together and prepping and making the most of our circumstances, especially as a brand new coach. So yes, and I wish you guys all the best this season. I'm so excited to tune in.
Thank you.
We miss you, Paige.
Oh, I know, we miss you, Paige.
I miss Goose.
Have this memory from the day our season got canceled. I broke
you did in the airport. I remember that.
I brought it.
You and Jill just like.
We all have a few of those.
Paige, we miss you. So, well, Todd, I think we need to do this every year. So I think we need, and I'm serious, I think we need to do it second semester after, the beginning of the second semester every year, especially for the underclassmen, because just all the advice that these alumni have given has just been absolutely wonderful. So I really appreciate everything that you guys shared with us tonight. It was wonderful. So thank you.
So actually, we have a few minutes left before we get to the witching hour. Coach, I want to ask the one question we didn't ask, which is always a fun one.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Yes.
Let's put them on the spot.
I'm so sorry. I mean, yeah, so usually the numbers have been bigger and I haven't been able to ask this question as often as I would hope to. But Paige, we're going to start with you. You thought you were all done, but all right, who is the teammate you admired the most throughout your career here at Bucknell?
Okay, this was an easy one for me. Lisa J, who's in this call, definitely the teammate I looked up to most. She took me under her wing my first 2 years at Bucknell and has been one of my best friends ever since. She had an incredible tennis career. She went going almost undefeated her junior year. And not to mention, she also did some stand-up comedy in her free time, which was awesome. Yeah, she taught me how to take advantage of what Bucknell has to offer. And she showed me how to have fun competing and how to make the best of my 4 years. Her parents were the best fans, and Lisa was always the loudest cheering by my court and the first one to ask to check up on me when times were tough. She was also the best doubles partner I've ever had, and playing with her is something that I will never forget. She just was such a crucial part of my Bucknell experience on and off the court, and couldn't be more grateful for Bucknell to bring us together. So she taught me a lot.
Love you.
Oh my goodness, that was absolutely wonderful, Paige.
No, I'm gonna cry.
I know.
You asked that question.
Lisa, we'll go with you next.
Okay. Honestly, I could give the same spiel about both these people, but Maria, like, I have never seen someone fight so hard. I mean, you taught me to fight in practice, which is sometimes I would, before Bucknell, I would think like, oh, practice is like a little break, but you taught me to compete even in practice. We had hard matches together in practice. but I'll say before Maria graduated, honestly, a part of me was excited. Like, I get to fill her shoes. I get to step up to that first position. You know, it was my time to shine. Me and Coach Helt had countless amount of conversations. She was mentally preparing me for when Maria graduated. And then the time came and Maria graduated and I stepped into that position that she always had. And it was tough. I mean, being in that first position isn't only about showcasing your best performance for every match, but it's about being a leader. I think Maria was the perfect definition of that. She, you know, Coach Hill always said lead by example, and everything Maria did was leading by example. On the court, the way she competed, off the court, the way she brought the team together. I wish I could have done it to that level that she did. But she taught me so much. You know, similar to what Paige said, Maria's parents would pull me aside and tell me like what a great player I am, and that meant so much to me. It's hard to put into words, but really she was the best leader and the best example I could have asked for.
Wonderful.
Aw. Thanks, Lisa.
Maria.
I mentioned this a little bit before, but I think Elena, she was a junior when I was a freshman. And like I said, she was a great doubles player. And coming in as a freshman, I really didn't play any doubles, hardly at all when I was in high school. I don't think a lot of people do. So she really guided me and helped me at that #1 doubles spot, which was a tough position to be in itself. And I also appreciated that she was so, Lisa can attest to this, but whenever we had to do intervals or like hard running, I was not a happy camper. I'm not into that. I just want to play tennis all day, every day. I don't want to run. So I was such a bad sport about it, but I always remembered how Elena was so even keel, no matter what we had to do, at practice, no matter if we were running, no matter if we were lifting. She approached everything with the same mindset of doing it the best she could do. So I tried to keep that in mind when we would do running. Once she had graduated, I tried to be a good example by not complaining. And it was always her that I was channeling and her attitude, which I think she just set a very good example on and off the court.
I think we were all privileged and lucky to be a part of a tennis team, because I too can remember the player that I admired most on my team to this day. So she's still a huge impact in my life. So love college athletics, love tennis. So. I
do want to mention that my parents really miss you, Lisa.
I miss them too.
Well, Coach, I'm glad we asked that question. That was
yeah, me too.
We were ready for that. They had the answers ready. I mean, of all the ones that we've done, I think they answered the quickest of anybody. So they had their minds made up.
Yeah, that was a great way to end it.
Yeah. So I agree with Coach. I think these have been great, and we should look forward to doing more of these every year. Daniela, let me start with you, and thank you again for your time tonight. Hopefully it gave you a little bit of a reprieve from your books that you're going to have to go back in a minute. But best of luck to you. Best of luck to you and your teammates. I hope that in a few weeks you're out on these courts behind me and there's not 21 inches of snow on them, and that you're out there kicking some Patriot League butt. So best of luck to you and your team this semester. And then, and then to the alums, thank you, ladies, for again making the time to be on tonight, and thank you for all that you did while you were student athletes here at Bucknell and how you represented the tennis program and Bucknell University. And more importantly, thank you for what you've done for the school since you've graduated. I talk about it all the time. The student athletes at Bucknell would not have the experience they have if it weren't for the support we get from the alumni. So thank you for that. And then for those of you that tuned in at home tonight to watch, thank you for doing so, and go Bison.